Welcome to another episode of Don't Ask, Don't Tell, the show that asks the questions that you should be asking but may not be asking, the show that brings you the information so that you can be enabled to make more informed decisions for both you and your family. Again, welcome to Don't Ask, Don't Tell. 2020, the year has changed, and we hope that with the information that will be provided to you today, you may also make some changes, some positive changes, so that you can help you and your family. We are continuing with the series that we started previously on the credit restoration program. Our previous show, we explained the differences between the credit companies, the credit bureaus, and the laws that applies to those companies. Today, we're going to go a little further into our research and share the information that we have found with you. There is a difference between credit repair and credit restoration. Even for this year, 2020, we know that the slogan is 2020 vision, but with 2020 vision, to be able to see, you have to open your eyes. So with this show, we're going to open your eyes so that you can see during the year of 2020, okay? So what is the difference between credit repair and credit restoration? Credit repair, companies do credit repair, but in the process of repairing your credit, they could also break your credit. To repair something, it has to be broken to repair it, but to restore something, it doesn't have to be broken to restore it. So there is a huge difference between credit repair and credit restoration. Everyone needs credit restoration. As far as credit repair is concerned, that's completely different. So today, on today's show, we're going to address the two differences, and you have to decide which one applies to you so that you can make informed decisions for both you and your family. When it comes to credit, it's not just for buying purposes. When it comes to credit, sometimes your child may be going off to college, and your credit matters as to the kind of ratings that they get for a loan for school, for their scholarship even. When it comes to credit, your job may look at your credit score to validate whether or not you are a responsible person. When it comes to credit, your place of living, your place of residence may not be secured if you don't have good credit. If you don't have good credit, we all know that it's almost impossible to rent an apartment complex or even a house, because people do check credits. They check other people's credits to see if they are in good standing before they rent them their homes, okay? So when it comes to credit, don't think of just purchasing something on credit, but it actually, in a way, identifies, or here in America anyway, it kind of identifies who you are. We know that back in the Caribbean, people borrow from people all the time. They purchase something here and they say, I'll return and pay you back later, and sometimes it doesn't happen. So that's why these credit companies started, because with the information that they gather, they tell other companies whether you are in good standing, whether you are a good borrower or not, okay? So what is credit repair and what is credit restoration? Credit repair is when a company, or you perhaps, with the lack of knowledge that you may have, try to restore your credit and end up repairing it instead. When you repair your credit, it wasn't broken, so what are you repairing? So in the process of you trying to restore your credit, you repair it, thus break it, okay? What do I mean by that? I will elaborate. When you repair your credit, the items that you dispute are taken off your credit, and then a few months later, they go back on your credit because you broke your credit. Meaning, you used to be someone that could be trustworthy, but because of the way that you disputed, you're no longer trustworthy. You've thus broken your credit. And now, to repair repair or restore that credit that you've broken, it takes a much longer process than just restoring your credit. Okay? So with today's information, we will learn that it is not safe to repair your credit. You will learn not to hire a company to repair your credit. You will learn also how you can restore your credit yourself. Now, in the event that you don't have the knowledge, the know-how, or maybe a language barrier as to how to go about this, you can go to an attorney or a nonprofit organization and ask them to do this for you. Legally, they are the only people that can restore your credit. Those credit repair companies are not legal unless they have an attorney or they are attached with a nonprofit organization to help restore, again, restore your credit, not repair your credit because it's not broken. Very important to remember, okay? So to restore your credit and the legal way, there are steps that you have to take. And coincidentally, repairing and restoring your credit starts the same way. They both start by accessing a copy of your credit report from what I call the TEE, which stands for TransUnion, Experian, and Equifax. Okay? So every time you hear me refer to the T, I'm referring to the 3 credit bureau companies that are regulated by the federal government. You have other companies that are not regulated by the federal companies, okay, by the federal government, excuse me, okay? Therefore, those don't really matter in a sense, except for the fact that the T purchased contract from those other companies. So to restore your credit, before I even give you that information, I must put out a disclaimer that the information that I'm about to share is not intended to defraud any company, is not intended to hurt any company, is not intended for you to utilize to start a credit restoring company because you don't have the right unless you are an attorney or a nonprofit organization. Therefore, the information is only being shared for the sake of education and entertainment. So without further ado, to restore your credit, you must first obtain a hard copy of your credit report, and you get that from the T, TransUnion, Equifax, and Experian. You can get a copy from online, from freecreditrepair.com and of those other companies where you pay $1 to try it out. However, you will never get a full report. It is best, always best, to contact the 3 companies, the 3 credit bureaus, the T's, directly to get a hard copy of your credit report. It is from there that you will start to address issues on your credit report. When you look at your credit report, there are things that you should be looking for. Number 1, if there's anything, and I mean anything, on your credit report that is over the statutes of limitation, you don't dispute those. You just request that they be taken off. Okay? So you don't waste your time disputing them, because by disputing them, you're reenacting that contract or that account all over again. You are activating it all over again. You don't want to reactivate any old contract or any old accounts that's on your report. All you want to do is have them removed. So if you look up in your state, for instance, I am in the state of Florida, so I look up the statutes of limitation in the state of Florida to see what it is to get perhaps a credit card payment removed from my credit report. If the statute says 5 years, and I look on my credit report and I see 6 years, I don't even have to dispute with that credit company. They have to remove it because based on the statutes of limitation, they are way past their time. Okay? Very important to know. So when you are disputing your or inaccurate information on your credit report, you have to first look to see if there are any accounts on your credit that have passed the statutes of limitation. Now, different things have different statutes. So for credit card company, it may be 4 to 5 years, whereas for a store purchase item or a store, Macy's, even for example, the statutes may be lower. If you had a Macy's card, since we're already using Macy's, if you had a Macy's credit card, for example, and Macy's is no longer in business, guess what? Even though that information is on your account, you don't owe Macy's, okay? You don't owe Macy's because Macy's already got paid for that account. If you owe Sears, if you had a credit card with Sears, a Sears card, okay, and Sears went out of business, for example, and that account is still, that information is still on your account, you don't owe Sears. Sears no longer exists. So who are they saying that you really owe? A lot of times, companies, the credit bureau companies will sell your information to different debt collectors. Now, with that being said, those debt collectors will call you, they will hound you over and over again because they want to get paid. I'll take a perfect example. You may have purchased an item from Sears, okay? Now, Sears is no longer in business, so Sears sold your account to Apple or Chair, whatever. Once they sold your account to Chair or Apple, Apple or Chair doesn't have the written document, the signed document that you had with Sears. And that is called a proper claim of title. It's called a PCT, proper claim of title. If they don't have a proper claim of title, you don't owe them a dime. Okay? Again, this information is to educate you, not for you to defraud a company. If you know that you owe a company any money, I will share with you how you can go about fixing that. However, in this particular case, if you owed a company money and that company no longer exists, you no longer owe either. The company that you owed has charged off your account. What does that mean? It means that Uncle Sam, they got a write-off from Uncle Sam for your account. That's one. That's a partial write-off. Number two, they've sold your account to one of those debt collectors that keeps calling you, Apple or Chair, that keeps calling you. When those debt collectors call you, due to the fact that they don't have a PCT on you, they cannot collect. Regular companies like Sears or any other businesses, when you sign a contract with them, that contract stays home. It stays within the parameters of that business. That contract does not get sold to credit bureau, to debt collectors. That contract only belongs to the original company. Therefore, a lot of times, you will find that these debt collectors that are calling you and demanding that you pay them, you have the right to say, I don't owe you. Or you have the right to say, show me the PCT, the proper chain of title, which they do not have. And without that proper chain of title, you don't owe. What is a proper chain of title? Like I said, it is a contract that you signed with the original company. Now, they mandate that they prove that you signed the contract, because anyone could have signed your name even, okay? So they mandate that they prove that you signed that contract. It has to be, whether on video, it has to be a picture, or it has to be in blue, okay? It has to be in blue ink. Blue ink cannot be copied because the tint gets faded when it's copied. Therefore, it has to be the original copy of your signature that is on that contract. And those debt collectors will never have those proper chain of titles. So, if you owe Sears, for the sake of reiteration, Sears went out of business. Sears got a write-off for your account, and Sears sold the remainder of that account to a debt collector, what do you owe Sears? Absolutely nothing. What do you owe the debt collector? Absolutely nothing. It's on your credit report. So now here we go. You need to get it off your credit report. How do you get that done? You need to contact the original company, the debt collector, and ask them to send you a copy of the proper chain of title. And they have 30 days by law to send that to you. They will never send it to you. I repeat, they will never send it to you because they will never have it. So after the 30 days expire, make sure that first off, when you're sending the information, you keep a copy of the letter that you're sending, and you want to send it certified mail to prove that you're taking the proper steps that needs to be taken to fight this. I'm teaching you how to fight for 2020 so that you can see clearly. When you send that first letter, they have 30 days to respond. If they do not respond in 30 days, you write them again. This is the second attempt. And on that second letter, you're telling them, I have given you 30 days to respond, to send to me the proper chain of title in reference to this account. You have not, or you have failed to do so. I am giving you another 30 days to do so. Another 30 days have passed. You're now looking at 60 days. After that 60 days, you will not receive anything as you have asked. Now you can prove to the T, the TransUnion, Equifax, and Experian that you have attempted to contact this company and requested the proper chain of title. And since they failed to honor your request, those three companies, the T companies, must remove the item from your credit report. Now, again, you're looking at another 30 days. So you have a total of 90 days. I don't know if you ever see those signs on the side of the road, can clean your credit in 45 days. That's not true. For it to be legitimate, actually, it takes 90 days, okay? It takes 90 days. So after you've contacted the T and you've told them and you've submitted documentation showing that you've sent 2 certified letters to the debt collector company asking for the proof, and they failed, now the T companies, the 3 companies, must remove the items from your account. In the event that they fail to do so, you now have a lawsuit, okay? You now have a lawsuit against TransUnion, Equifax, and Experian. Sometimes one will remove the item and the other doesn't. So you may not have a lawsuit against all 3. It may be against 1 or maybe 2. Either way, once that 30 days have expired, you have a legal lawsuit. You must do this for every single item that is on your record. When it comes to credit restoration, you never, ever, ever claim an item. What do I mean by that? 90% of the information that is on your credit report are inaccurate. I'm sorry, I take that back. 70%. 70% of the items that are reported on your credit report are inaccurate. Therefore, when you read your credit report and you're asking yourself, well, when did I sign a contract with this company? When did I sign with that company? Guess what? You didn't. Those are called credit, those debt collectors. That's what that's called. You didn't sign any contract with any debt collector. You would never sign a contract with any debt collector. When it comes to the statutes of limitation, however, if a debt collector contacts you and says that you owe such and such amount, and you say, yes, I do, it doesn't matter if the statute of limitation is for 2 years, and now that debt collector have contacted you 1 year, 361 or 64 days. Only 1 more day to go. Once you say, yes, you owe, you have reactivated that account all over again to day one. Okay? Very important. You never admit that you owe anything, especially over the phone. How do you know who you're talking to? How do you know? Are you facing the company that you signed the contract with? No, you're not. Therefore, you don't admit to anything. A lot of times, companies, what they do also is that when you owe something, they have the wrong address for you. I don't know if you've ever paid attention to see that even now when you're filing for food stamps or cash benefits, they ask you to verify your previous address. Well, guess what? They want to verify your credit. They want to verify that you lived at this address and that address. Once you admit to that, and you're 1 year later trying to dispute something, you've already validated that you lived at that address already. Therefore, you can't fight. We have to keep our eyes open. You have to keep your eyes open. This information is to educate you. Keep your eyes open so that you can fight. There's something that the credit companies do that you must be aware of. They will call you, the different companies that do the collections, the debt collector companies, will contact you and ask you to do a settlement payment. For example, if you owe $100 or if you owe $1,000, I'll take it back, $1,000, and they ask you to settle with them for $100, and you're so happy, oh yes, I get to pay this off and not have to pay $900. Once you settle with that company, again, that statute of limitation applies, and you settle with that company for $100, a percentage of what you actually owe them, that debt does not get removed from your account. It shows as a paid-off collection, but, it shows as a collection that you made payments on, but it's not paid off. Very important. So what it does is it actually hurts your credit score. So by you not paying off the full amount and taking a settlement, what it shows companies that are looking at your credit score is that you're willing to do anything to get out of trouble. That is not a good way to go. When a company calls you and asks you to do a settlement, again, the company that's calling you is not the original company that you signed a contract with. They are debt collector companies. You don't settle with debt collectors. You don't make payments to debt collectors. You never, ever, ever agree to any kind of payments with debt collectors because you don't owe them anything. Another thing is what I stated earlier is the write-offs. Once a company has written off your account, normally it takes 120 days, about 4 months, for an original company to sell your contract. So if you owe Sears for 4 months, you haven't made payments, Sears have now sold your contract to a debt collector. Okay? Now, once they sell that contract to the debt collector, it doesn't mean that your contract or your account is not still active with Sears because of the statutes of limitation. Okay? So because the statutes of limitation have not expired, you can still make payments to Sears, not the debt collector. Once that statutes of limitation have expired, let's say it is 2 years, then you no longer owe neither Sears or a debt collector because Sears have gotten their write-off from Uncle Sam, and the debt collector company, Sears sold them that contract, so then they already made money off of you, okay? And not to mention the T companies, the Equifax, Experian, and the TransUnion, Sears already submitted your information to them, thus giving them another kickback. So they've already made their profits, so what are you worried about? Why are you so concerned? You need to keep your eyes open and fix your information, restore your credit, okay? Very, very important. When you contact the T companies, the 3 companies, and what will happen is that they will write back to you and tell you that the account, that the claim that you are making have been verified. And what they mean by that is that they have checked with the company and they have verified that you do owe the money. But because it's verified doesn't mean that it's validated. Very important. Because it's verified does not mean that it's validated. What do I mean by that? It's verified that you did sign to accept a credit card from the company. You did sign to say that you are in agreement to pay. You did sign with the hospital saying that if they treat you, you will pay. Yes, you did sign. Yes, you did. But it's not validated because there is not a copy of your signature on file with the debt collector company. So that's the difference between the validation and the verified. If it's verified and validated, some companies do that. You have some hospitals, for example, they have another branch off of their company that does the debt collecting for them. They don't go through a third-party debt collector to collect the debt on a payment. They have their same staff that does that. In that case, you need to arrange some kind of payment method with that company. To do that, you don't just say, I will make this amount of payment and I will make that amount of payment. Never, ever, ever. To do such a thing, a contract, you must enter into another contract agreement with the company that you actually owe. And to do that, that agreement must also state whether or not they are willing to work something out with you as a payoff, not a settlement, because a settlement will hurt your account, but a payoff will not hurt your account. They must agree that they will account you as paid off, even though you're only paying a portion of what you owe. And they must also agree on the payment method. So if you say that I will pay you, or they agree to a payment of $500 as opposed to $1,000, that contract must state that they agree for a $500 payment as a payoff, okay? And you sign it in a blue ink. And they must also agree as to the payment method. The payment method must be as such. It must be you saying that you will pay either $50 or $500 once you are monthly or weekly, however you can do it. It must be in writing. However, once you are done with that, they must agree to sign to give you a copy of the paid off letter. They must agree to do that. Without an agreement to do so, then you must wait for the statute of limitation to get that off of your report. Okay? If you are in a hurry to purchase a home, you may want to arrange some kind of payment method with them. If you're not in a hurry, you may want to wait for the statutes of limitation. Again, this is not to defraud. This is to open your eyes so that you can fight. Okay? So once they agree, say that they agree to the payment method, they agree to the payoff, they will give you that letter. So once that is done, you take that letter, you now submit it to the T company. And once you submit that letter, they will remove the negative account from your report. Okay? And once that is removed, you're good to go. Now, all this is information that you may not need, but you can definitely share with someone. And when you take the time to share this information with someone, you're not just helping them, but you're also helping their family. This is a series on credit restoration through Don't Ask, Don't Tell. Until next time for another episode of Don't Ask, Don't Tell, I hope that you take care. Thank you.